Breaking news from DC, it's happening on Monday. This is wrong. By Al Waisman for freedomdaily.com. Sometimes, as the president of the most powerful nation in the world, you just have to be wise enough to know how to pick your battles. And this is exactly what President Donald Trump has done when he decided to just drop the whole military transgender recruit ban appeal. Today, it's being reported by multiple media news outlets that the Trump administration had decided not to appeal court rulings reversing the ban on transgendered people from enlisting in the U.S. military starting this coming Monday, January 1st, 2018. The department went as far as to withdraw all its legal challenges to several federal court rulings that block the administration from banning transgendered people from enlisting in the U.S. Armed Services. There was no immediate reason as to why the Trump administration had a change of heart, but it can be assumed that the LGBTQXYZ mafia probably had something to do with all of this. Take a gander. Although the talking point pushed by the social justice warriors seemed to be that if anyone wants to put their lives on the line to defend our country, they should be allowed to do so. There are two major issues why transgender people really shouldn't be allowed in the military. The first one is that transgenderism is considered a mental disorder until the DSM-5 decided to reclassify the meaning in order to push the agenda. And the second one is the cost of taxpayer-funded sex change operations are just way too high. CNS news reports John Hopkins, psychiatrist, transgender is a mental disorder, sex change biologically impossible. Dr. Paul R. McHugh, the former psychiatrist-in-chief for Johns Hopkins Hospital and its current distinguished service professor of psychiatry, said that transgenderism is a mental disorder that merits treatment, that sex change is biologically impossible, and that people who promote sexual reassignment surgery are collaborating with and promoting a mental disorder. Dr. McHugh, the author of 6 books and at least 125 peer-reviewed medical articles, made his remarks in a recent commentary in the Wall Street Journal where he explained that transgender surgery is not the solution for people who suffer a disorder of assumption. The notion that their maleness or femaleness is different than what nature assigned to them biologically. He also reported a new study showing that the suicide rate among transgender people who had reassignment surgery is 20 times higher than the suicide rate among non-transgender people. Dr. McHugh further noted studies from Vanderbilt University in London's Portman Clinic of children who had expressed transgender feelings, but for whom over time 70 to 80% spontaneously lost those feelings. While the Obama administration, Hollywood, and major media such as Time magazine promote transgenderism as normal, said Dr. McHugh, these policy makers and the media are doing no favors either to the public or the transgendered by treating their confusion as a right in need of defending rather than a mental disorder that deserves understanding, treatment, and prevention. This intensely felt sense of being transgendered constitutes a mental disorder in 2 respects. First is that the idea of sex misalignment is simply mistaken. It does not correspond with physical reality. The second is that it can lead to grim psychological outcomes. The transgender person's disorder, said Dr. McHugh, is in the person's assumption that they are different, than the physical reality of their body, their maleness or femaleness as assigned by nature. It is a disorder similar to a dangerously thin person suffering anorexia who looks in the mirror and thinks they are overweight, said McHugh. This assumption that one gender is only in the mind, regardless of anatomical reality, has led some transgendered people to push for social acceptance and affirmation of their own subjective personal truth, said Dr. McHugh. As a result, some states, California, New Jersey, and Massachusetts, have passed laws barring psychiatrists, even with parental permission, from striving to restore natural gender feelings to transgender minor, he said. The pro-transgender advocates do not want to know, said McHugh, that studies show between 70 and 80% of children who express transgender feelings spontaneously lose those feelings over time. Also, for those who had sexual reassignment surgery, most said they were satisfied with the operation, but their subsequent social adjustments were no better than those who didn't have the surgery. And so at Hopkins, we stopped doing sex reassignment surgery since producing a satisfied but still troubled patient seemed an inadequate reason for surgically amputating normal organs, said Dr. McHugh. The former Johns Hopkins chief of psychiatry also warned against enabling or encouraging certain subgroups of the transgendered, such as young people susceptible to suggestion from Everything is Normal, sex education, and the schools, diversity counselors who, like cult leaders, may encourage these young people to distance themselves from their families and offer advice on rebutting arguments against having transgender surgery. Dr. McHugh also reported that there are misguided doctors who, working with very young children who seem to imitate the opposite sex, will administer puberty-delaying hormones to render later sex change surgeries less onerous, even though the drugs stunt the children's growth and risk causing sterility. Such action comes close to child abuse, said Dr. McHugh, given that close to 80% of those kids will abandon their confusion and grow naturally into adult life if untreated. Sex change is biologically impossible, said McHugh. People who undergo sex reassignment surgery do not change from men to women or vice versa. Rather, they become feminized men or masculinized women, claiming that this is civil rights matter and encouraging surgical intervention is in reality to collaborate with and promote a mental disorder. This is all about agenda, folks. The very next day after the United States Supreme Court imposed gay marriage on all 50 states, there was an instant pivot to transgender rights, which is something most of us don't even know existed just 5 short years ago. All this is just part of the far-left liberal anti-Christian agenda and their need to shove what is anti-Bible and anti-proven science down our collective throats. And they always seem to get their way. Please share if you agree who suffer from a mental illness have no place on the battlefield. I'd like to know if the Russians are putting these kind of people. Did you take a quick look at the Russian military? Do these people, I sort of kind of laugh at the same time when they say that our military is strong. You will get goosebumps if you see the kind of military Russia has. Just watching the soldiers march, it's like if you ever watched Rocky 5 or whatever, I think, no, it's 4, with when he goes against Drago, that's what their military looks like. And this is a a disgrace to our military. I mean, I don't have anything against anybody, these kind of people. I don't. I feel for them, whatever. But this is not a way to protect the country. That's all I have to say about that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.